Hi there. If you are a student who is stuck in making proper career decisions, trust me guys, it's an entirely confusing time. So you will be having many choices, many courses, many influencers, many big institutes and many big promises. And you will be confused as to which is the best one to choose from. What if there is a professional who cleared one of India's toughest examinations, which is Chartered Accountancy, and started his own edtech to guide the professionals who are aiming for good professional courses? It would be an incredibly good decision for us to hear it from him, isn't it? So today we have CA Vinod Chandran sir, the CEO at Mylogic, to guide us and clear all our confusions in this regard. I'm Sri Lakshmi, the host for today's podcast. Hi sir. To begin with, for those in our audience who may be new to your journey, who is CA Vinod Chandran and how did Mylogic start?
So probably nothing much to say about myself, but probably in the interest of Mylogic journey, I'm professionally chartered accountant, has been part of various corporates for a long time. So I've been supporting youngsters almost 2 decades along with my corporate life. The passion for education has always been there, which was probably sometimes making me thought whether I should continue as a corporate professional or move into world of education. So that was the key reason why which I took a full-time edupreneur role and Mylogic has been initiated. I hope I answered.
It was a really great start, sir. So I think we can begin with the questions for the day. So the first question is, how would you promise that a professional course would secure a student's future?
So when your question is professional courses secure a student's career, I probably try to refine that question to our context. So when we discuss professional courses, here we are discussing about finance professional programs. So when we say finance professional program, conventionally, if you look at in Indian context, there are finance professional programs like Chartered Accountancy, CA, ICWA, now it is called as CMA India, and then Company Secretaryship, CS. These are India's finance professional program. If you take 30 years back, the only professional program which we were discussing was about Indian Finance Professional Program. In fact, CS has come a bit later compared to CA or CMA India. So without any second thoughts, if anybody complete any of this finance professional program, their career is secured, because when it comes to industry, particularly whether it is in Indian context, if you look at the government jobs in finance or in the banks in finance segment or in any of the nationalized or global MNCs, if you are looking from an Indian context, you complete any of this finance professional program, your career is secured for the rest of your life. And at senior level, if you take any of the companies, whatever I mentioned, at senior levels, a director finance, CFO level, it will be a finance professional. Now I was mentioning about finance professional, which are Indian context, Indian finance professionals. Having said that, we should also probably rewind back and see post 91, 92, what has happened to the industry. That is very significant in this particular question. So post 91 until 91, 92, if we look at India, was a very closed economy. You find only Indian-based companies. If we are based out of Bangalore. When I traveled to Bangalore in 91, 92, people used to say we don't have to keep the fan. To that extent, it was chilled, and so because the number of people here was very limited, industries were based on predominantly you'll find companies like BHEL, HAL, BEML, those kind of public sector undertakings or banks. A lot of banks you used to find here. That was the situation probably 30 years back, 40 years back. Bangalore was. But post 91, what has happened is a trend has changed with liberalization, LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. With LPG, Indian economy has opened up and which has allowed international investment to India. And when foreign investment started coming, most significant hub became Bangalore, maybe for the climatic reasons or from, being, the advantage, many a multiple advantage Bangalore in particular offered to the larger international community. So people started coming to India, particularly to Bangalore, establish international companies in India, branches in India. Today, if you look at, you name any Fortune 500 companies will have a branch in India, particularly in Bangalore. So this scenario has changed. So coming back to your earlier question, finance professional qualification, this movement had a very significant result in Indian, like in Indian Finance Professional Program, in International Finance Professional Program coming to India. For instance, until 91-92, if you are discussing only about Indian CA and CMA India, post 91-92, we started looking out for International Finance Professional Program also into India. Like in India, we have CA. The US equivalent is called as CPA USA. Like CMA India, we relate with CMA USA, okay, Certified Management Accountant. Similarly, another UK-based qualification, ACCA, CUFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. Like that, lot of international finance professional programs started coming to India because of the LPG effect. And today in India, if you are any of this international finance professionally qualified candidate, you are in huge demand. So to answer you specific, this is a significance. Whether you are called as an Indian finance professional or an international finance professional in India, any of the companies, when you look at the hierarchy, the topmost at the senior level is being ruled by finance professionals. I hope I answered.
As a student, when I have various choices in India, the professional courses like CA, CMA, and CS, which I could complete in a very less fees, why should I choose abroad courses where the completion fees is very high?
It's a kind of comparison between Indian Finance Professional Program vis-a-vis the International Finance Professional Program. While your question was specific about the cost factor, probably I would try to reiterate with overall comparison as well, not beyond cost. First, let me answer the first part of the question about fees part. I agree. When I was doing chartered accountancy, probably the entire fees which I paid for CA was maybe around 10,000 rupees. I'm saying the institute fees, the entire fees probably even less than that, the exam fees. But today, if you look at international context, if you are looking for the fees for it, one registration fee for a CMA exam registration costs you almost around $300 to $400, which we are translating into maybe around 30,000 or whatever, around that it comes. So this particular thing is a fact. But the way you need to look at is, education is not a cost. Any amount you put in education, we call it as an investment. Make you more clarity on it. Let's say a program like CMA US. The overall investment what you make is, let's say, 2 lakhs. Now, when you get into industry, let's say we get an average salary of, first salary of, 50,000 per month. So effectively, if you look at as a finance professional, or if I say from a layman's point of view, you invested 2 lakhs and you took 1 year to complete it, and you get 50,000 first month salary. So whatever you invested 2 lakhs is being recovered in 4 months. But rest of your career, rest of your life, you will be called as a CMA. So your salary levels will be calculated keeping yourself as a CMA professional. The kind of, when you change a job, 30%, 40% high, increment becomes larger. When you compare with a normal BCom candidate, the growth in your career, what happens is exponential. So to answer you specific, please consider the amount you invest in International Finance Professional Program is an investment, not a cost, because the return on investment is huge. Okay. Now, you cannot really compare with Indian context and probably the international context because the pricing, it affects so much of factors like inflationary effect, the different standard of living factors. For example, if we look at, we are discussing about $200, $300. So Indian context, when we look at, we are discussing about probably, it's for one exam, 20,000 to 30,000, But if you look at $300, probably it's as good as you're going for a dinner in US, when you compare. So from a US point of view, also from a professional body fees, it is not substantial. Like how we pay probably 3,000 rupees for Indian CA exam registration. I'm just giving a ballpark number. So you need to look at that way. It is not a very huge investment from a, where you look at from, this kind of investment what you made, $300. Now, I will ask back another question. Suppose a lot of students, in fact, these days go for international MBAs and, whatever reasons, So I'm not saying about the conventional GMAT option, but you have a lot of university where you go for 2 years, you get 2 years. How much of investment you make in that? Okay. Many a times, lakhs of students are, doing these MBAs. The kind of investment starts with not less than 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs. But what is the return? Nobody answers that. Here, when you consider all these things, this investment is very nominal and the return on investment is exponentially high. So it is I would say, without second thoughts, this is investment is a right investment. So that was on the investment. Now, what I mentioned about the comparison between Indian and international. If you look at the time duration, international finance professional programs like CMA US, probably in a year's time, ACCA may take 2 years, same with CFA, CPA, around 2 years you can finish it off. Whereas Indian professional programs, the minimum average time, I would say, somewhere between 3.5 years to 5 years, whether you take CA or CMA India. Minimum of 3.5 years, and it can span average if you look at 4.5 to 5 years it takes. Number of papers. Indian context, you know it is 16 papers, 18 papers you write to clear Indian finance professional programs. Here, probably it takes a program like CMA take 2 papers, program like CPA 4 papers, and ACCA probably with after exemption around 8 papers you write. CFA have 3 levels, 3 papers effectively. So like that, if you look at the number of papers are limited. Opportunities, if you look at Indian professional courses have predominant opportunities in India and in Middle East. Whereas international professional program, let's take CPA, CMA, CFA or ACCA are recognized around 150 plus countries. These opportunities are available. That's the advantage you get. So this is a quick comparison between. I'm not saying that international professional program ahead of Indian. Both are equally good. But when you look at the kind of effort required vis-a-vis the return, all these things when you compare, definitely international professional program has an upper edge from a global perspective, both in Indian MNCs as well as global perspective. Of course, if you look at in India, chartered accountancy is a premium qualification. There is no substitute for it. But when you look at, everyone probably may not be able to do CA. So from that perspective, lakhs of students go and invest in MBA without having much value. These days, MBA has diminished its value. So when you look at from that angle of qualifications like CMA US or ACCA will be a real substitute for those kind of MBAs and can really add value. I hope I answered.
Yeah, that's a good perception, sir, to view it not as a cost but as an investment in our future. That's a good one. So the next question is, sir, there are many institutions which market the abroad courses like CMA, CPA and ACCA being very much in demand in the market, and they say us we get a very high package. When the ground reality comes, the students who actually enrolled for the jobs after their professional courses, they get lesser salary than what is promised to them. Why is there a gap between the expectation guaranteed for the students and what they are actually being paid?
It's an interesting question. In fact, see, I agree with you. Some of the false marketing also happens. Some hypothetical, ambitious numbers being announced by many institutes when it comes to complete programs. Now, I will give a simple example for you to relate. Now, if you go to Google, search for ACCA job openings in India. Who are watching this, I request you to do that also. When you look that, you scroll down, you find Naukri.com. Naukri.com is a very established job portal in India. You will find not less than 60,000, 70,000 job openings for qualification like ACCA. Okay, that is a kind of demand which has increased over the time. Now, salary is very subjective. I would say, it depends upon the companies, the caliber of the candidate, the right kind of opportunities what he gets from, not just from a designation, but from the profile what he gets, all these matters. I would say if you look at a program like ACCA, CMA gets an average between 50,000 to 60,000 per month is an average salary. Having said that, there are candidates, our own students who got placed in packages like 7.5 lakhs starting salary. There are candidates who get only 40,000. Okay, so which we am discussing about probably 70,000 versus 40,000. So that's why I say average of around 50,000. So sometimes students compromise. Sometimes we send candidates for 3 to 4 interviews. Their performance is not up to mark. So they may have to compromise. They may be starting with a 35,000 salary. So in fact, the other context is sometimes companies, one of the international audit firm, as one of our regular recruiters. Their terms is that at fresher level, they will take only for 3.6 lakhs, okay, which is around 30,000. But the beauty is that is one of the biggest international brand in audit and consulting. and the promotion in that company do not follow the conventional. Okay, so though you are getting at 30,000, if you are performing well, you may immediately get double in no matter of time. The kind of exposure in transfer pricing areas and a very unique exposure. So my submission to students who qualify any of this professional program, at the initial level of your career, at least for 4 to 5 years, do not look at salary as your major criteria. Look at for the right company. Look at for the profile what you get in, whether I am in the right profile. Because whatever you, again, like it is an investment, whatever you spend your career for next few years, sometimes I surprised, one of the international Indian multinational company into manufacturing. There was some opening. I sent candidates. Okay, the salary, of course, was relatively less because they are in a demanding position. No students want to join there. But the way I was conveying is, if they have worked there for few years, then the kind of manufacturing exposure what they would have got would have been really helpful for their rest of the career. The brand was very big, whereas they prefer to join in another consulting or related firm with a slightly enhanced salary. So these things happens. So my submission would be, initial 5 years, it's an investment again on your career. Go for the right company, right profile, irrespective of the location. I hear students saying, sir, I am in Bangalore, I will do it only in Bangalore. Sorry, you have to look at, you are an international professional. Start exploring beyond boundaries. When you do that, you will lay down your path for a larger growth. So these are my suggestions. First 5 years, it's an investment. Right job, right profile, right company, irrespective of the location.
So moving on to the fourth question, according to Forbes report, there are 39,000 layoffs which happen year to date, and they are blamed on AI. So as professionals, how can we secure our professional jobs, or at least how can we be guaranteed that our jobs are not under threat in this AI generation?
Again, probably I'm not the expert to comment on the job transition which comes across, or the job layoff happens with AI, the usage of AI in times to come. But my observation so far, with respect to industry, what is happening, change, I'm closely observing for the last almost around 5 to 10 years, I could say, ever since RPA, robotic process automation in finance industry started coming up. So one fundamental part is, those days, if you look at 30 years, 40 years back, we used to hear that computers are going to come, jobs will go. Okay. But what has happened? They have created more job opportunities. So here, what is important is, in my view, of course, there will be transitions. Probably I need to touch upon industrial revolution also in this context. So when you look at the industrial revolution 1, 2, 3, the first one of course, the introduction of mechanical energy. Second was the electrical energy, and the third industrial revolution was with information technology, IT. All these took 100 years to evolve. Fourth industrial revolution, which we are running about, the digitalization, digital world. The changes are happening in a rapid pace. In our times, 20 years, 25 years back, when the computers started coming up, we are probably part of the industrial revolution 3. When it evolved, we could say that, our maturing stage wherein computers were coming to India. What we noticed that, the kind of, the transition phase used to happen in a very slow pace. It takes time. First, it used to come with computers coming across, Microsoft Word coming, Excel coming, then we hear Tally. So the evolution has happened over a time. But in digital world, it is not that way. It can happen in a very fast pace. What you are seeing today, another 2 years may become scrap. You need to come up with something new. So for youngsters like you, what is most important part here is how you update yourself with the changes. So I am a qualified person, I'm done. No, that's not the situation. Today, what is happening in industry, you need to really upskill yourself with that change. Now, coming back to AI. Now, when I was working with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, okay, those days, we have helicopter pricing. I used to do the pricing of helicopters, the costing of helicopters I was involved in it. So the first thing for me was to understand how the manufacturing of helicopters is happening. Without understanding manufacturing of helicopter, I cannot do costing or pricing. Similarly, when you are in AI era, you are working in a company which is, using AI in a larger extent, and if assume that you are in the pricing or finance or any of these related areas, unless and otherwise you understand that process, how AI being utilized in a particular effective manner, you may not be able to function properly. So I would say all these functions, whether it is a manufacturing or service connected with finance, costing or related our areas, all are interlinked. Unless and otherwise you are upskilled to the level, at least to the level that you understand what is happening on the other side, you may not be able to function properly. Otherwise it will be like a monotonous work without understanding what is happening on the other side. So as a thorough professional, you need to be upskilled with whatever changes happening in AI. So my concluding statement on that, AI may not replace your job, but person who knows AI will replace you. So it's better that you upskill yourself with whatever skill, whether it is AI or tomorrow, whatever it may be, you upskill to that level so that you become irreplaceable.
Interesting. So, moving on to the last question for today's podcast. As a CEO, which is the one best piece of advice and one promise that you would give to the upcoming professionals from Mylogic Institute?
It's a tough question you asked me. So, see, the Mylogic is here to support youngsters like you. We are here to service you. See, our tagline also says a transforming career. That's the only objective with which we exist, or that's the sole reason for which we exist. So when we evaluate ourselves, okay, how we add value, every time we keep this principle, how we can support youngsters to progress, not just the academically, supporting them, how we can help them to please, how we can help them to transform their career. So this is from Mylogic perspective, what we are committed to, and thankfully we are able to do it over the time, and we are looking forward to do it in future. So students who watch this particular podcast, my suggestion would be you start thinking, most importantly, securing your career. So all of you are very young. You have another 40-45 years of career ahead of you. What is most significant for you is have the right qualification. I mentioned about finance professional program. If you are discussing about MBA, there are top B schools where you could get through, various exams like CAT, whatever it may be, Be serious about your career, because the kind of competition is huge, and it is more important that you are upgraded, upskilled in every sense, so that you secure your career. That is what my core advice to anybody who is watching this particular podcast. And from Mylogic perspective, we are here to service you, and we will continue to give our best to support all you youngsters. Thank you so much. All the very best. God bless you.
So that was indeed a very valuable advice and a good promise for your students, sir. And thank you very much for your valuable words. So guys, I think this podcast has answered most of your career related queries. If you think there were none of your questions which were left unanswered, you can let us know your questions in the comment section. We would love to come up with another podcast with a professional to answer all your queries. With this, we would like to see you in the next one.